Hello out there. I'm snacking. I guess I'm having lunch. Um, and I was trying to think of something to stream about, I guess, But now I was like, wait a minute. You've lived in Atlanta for over 20 years, and you have plenty to stream about. Plenty. All right. Um, let me check my. So let me give you an update first, really quick. I'm gonna just be honest, y'all. I've been really tired. Um, doing a lot of help, like home care for my brother and stuff. Like, I did not forget to text the people that I'm trying to book the show with and trying to connect with them. Um, I'm, and then I just got an alert. How interesting. My brother is very clever. Um, he's mentally disabled, but it doesn't mean that, you know, he's not smart, you know. So he is a smart person. It's just that he's mentally disabled. Sometimes he has a really hard time remembering things that are important, like turning off the water or turning off the stove, things like that. Um, and I am, I'm basically the one, that's doing that for him, helping him out that way. All right. So, like I said, I have stories, like 20 years worth of stories. And I think one of the things that people, I guess, want to know about is like the times you met famous people or whatever, or you ran into famous people, which, yes, I have lots of them. I don't get starstruck though. Now, before we go any further, like and subscribe, all the things. I am Nerd Queen. I'm a singer, songwriter, musician, teacher, and caregiver to my brother, and all those things. Okay, so as I'm, like I said, trying to make sure my brother doesn't get himself into trouble here, and I'm about to drive off. I'm trying to think which one would be the first story I could tell. So I was thinking, let's start chronologically, right? Um, when I first moved to Atlanta, it was literally the day after I graduated college, because I wanted to go to college in Atlanta. Um, and the scholarship I had did not cover going to school in Atlanta. I'll just say that. And that crushed me. I was so heartbroken. But I did come and let's see, I did come and go to school for at least 1 year here in Atlanta. And I don't want to say that's the no, it's not. I was about to say that was the time I got to see the most celebrities, but not really. It just depends on the jobs that I had. All right, so when I did move here, I had to get a job, right? So I got a job. Let's see, I graduated in December of that year, and I literally got a job the day before. I want to say Christmas Eve or the day before Christmas Eve or sometime in that week. And it was the most money I'd ever made in like 2 weeks because it was holiday season. So I was working as a flower girl. Okay. What is a flower girl? There's some people who don't know. All right. So being a flower girl meant I went around to restaurants and nightclubs selling flowers to patrons who were like, out on dates or parties and things like that, and then they see the opportunity to buy their date a flower, right? So I'm gonna eat this chip, which is what is this? A green bean baked chip. And so, yeah, it was definitely a high stakes selling kind of job. It was interesting. I got to see a lot of things like human nature and all that stuff. But anyway, in those 2 weeks, right before the end of the year, I made enough money to, definitely pay my rent. That for I was like, I don't know how I'm gonna pay the rent. Like it was literally by the seat of my pants. And then I got another secondary job. Okay, so I was a flower girl at night, and then I actually worked. I'm trying to think. I worked at UPS. No, there was another job, so I'd have to sit down and like it's in my resume, by the way. But I would have to sit down and really think about the timelines. But I definitely got the flower girl job right away, and it helped a lot because it got me. Yeah, UPS was in the March of the following year. But anyway, while I was working as a flower girl, and I think I only did it for about a year, maybe a little over a year. A little over a year. I was able to go to a lot of nightclubs in the Atlanta area and in another neighborhood, Marietta. And a lot of people who know. If you know, you know. I'm gonna back out now. So Marietta, this lady, she had a route in Marietta that she was leasing me, I guess, and clubs in Buckhead. I was like 22, okay, young, fresh, all that stuff. I really did not look my age, y'all. Okay, like even now, except for, when it's allergy season. Oh my gosh, um, I seriously looked like I was maybe 17, but I was 22. I have natural hair, and all of this is important, y'all. I had natural hair, and I've never since going into college had not chemically treated my hair. Okay. So I did when I was a teenager, when I was still at home. But when I moved to college, I stopped. And I've been natural ever since. Now, this is important to the story, y'all. I did wear wigs, though, for job interviews and things like that. Only because, I don't know. It was just easy. And so I wore wigs. And I thought this would be a great opportunity when I got this job, and I was wearing a wig at that interview, so I couldn't just necessarily switch it up. And again, this was like 20 years ago, so not a lot of, people were wearing weaves and stuff like that. In fact, my boss, she wore weave a lot, but it was either you wear your hair like chemically treated, or you get a weave, or I don't know, wigs. So I chose wigs because it worked. It was helpful because I would sometimes wear my glasses, sometimes not, but wear a wig, and a wig was my disguise. Okay, because I would be in these nightclubs, and I kind of, I got in free. First of all, I didn't drink at the time, and I was young, and I wanted to see like what's this city about. Okay. Oh, thank you. Hi. So yeah, so I wanted to see what is this city about. So I got an opportunity to go straight into what I would see in Atlanta. Okay. It was an interesting education for that. Now, let me go over some celebrities that I saw in those days, especially in Buckhead. Almost exclusively in Buckhead. Okay, I used to even go to Dave and Buster's too, in Marietta. All right, so in Buckhead, let me also go over this too. These were the days when last call was at 2 a.m., which meant the clubs would actually close at 3 a.m. Okay, there were even some clubs, like 2 that I can remember, that were 24-hour clubs. Okay, I never got to go to any one of those. One was a gay club, and I'm trying to remember what the other one was. But yeah, there were clubs that were 24 hours here in Atlanta. Those were the days, y'all. When I was going out with friends and stuff, we would be partying all night, honey, all night. And people would come from out of town, literally, to come party in Atlanta. That's how live it is, and that's probably why Atlanta has the reputation that it has now. But anyway, I was in it, and I would work as a flower girl, like I said, for about a little over a year. One, and I still laugh at this. I'm gonna tell you about the time that Shaq sneaked up on me. Okay, and I know people, when I tell people that, they're like, "What? How did Shaquille O'Neal sneak up on you?" Right? He's like what, 7'3" or something? He's huge, right? Okay, it was in a club because it was in a club. It was dark. Okay, that particular night, not only he was at that club, there were other celebrities. Like, if you know the comedian Joe Torre, he has a brother. His brother was there. I think Joe was also there too. And that's also how I know a lot of these celebrities, some of them are really short. Like, he's short. No shade, my guy. But yeah, they're not very tall. The Tories. There were a few other basketball athletes there that particular night. That's one of the reasons why Shaq snuck up on me that night, okay, because I wasn't prepared. Now, he was all over the club. He was with his I think girlfriend at the time that turned into his wife. She was very fair skinned. She was tiny, so I don't know who that is. Maybe you know who that is out there in the world. But yeah, she was like, I'm 5'7", okay, and she looked like she maybe had been 5 foot, maybe, and she was very fair skinned. Okay, so I don't know who that is, but like I said, it might be his ex-wife now. But at the time, I think either they had just got married or a girlfriend or something. I don't know. But anyway, she was there. He was sitting down. Okay, the first time I saw him in the club that night. So as I'm walking around, it's packed too, back to back. I'm doing my, with my basket. There were dudes hitting on me, even though I was wearing my glasses. Like, there's a whole thing shtick to what I do to be able to sell the flowers. So you can't be more beautiful than the women. That was one of the things, the lessons I learned. You couldn't be more beautiful than the women. So I learned, wear your glasses. Okay, don't wear your contacts, wear your glasses. So I made more money that way. But anyway, so there were dudes still trying to hit on me left and right, and it was packed in there. So when you run into a celebrity, you're like, wait. By the time you recognize, and it's dark, by the time you recognize who it is, you're like, wait, it's you, celebrity. So there's that. So I saw him with his, I guess, we'll call her a paramour at the time. His paramour, Shaquille O'Neal, that is. And they were kind of cuddled up, kind of in a corner, but not really, because I still had to walk by them. It wasn't like they were out of the way. And so I'm, again, making my rounds. There's 2 levels to this particular club in Buckhead. And I would have to go upstairs, downstairs. I think there was also a restaurant. That was also the other, as they say, loophole to be able to be open later. So I was making my rounds, y'all. I was making my rounds. People, there were a lot more men in there. And maybe that's the other thing. Because I was getting hit on left and right. There was not a lot of ladies in there. It was just a lot of men. And I wasn't really selling as well as I could have, I think. And I think, again, maybe because of the celebrity coming out and whatever. Of course, they don't announce themselves, so they show up. And then, people are like, oh, So, yeah. So, the first few rounds, I kind of, knew where Shaquille O'Neal was. And a couple of other celebrities. They were all kind of hanging out upstairs or whatever, just standing around. And then I walk around, I go upstairs, go downstairs. I go upstairs again, like, I don't know how many times, a lot of times. Like I said, I'm trying to make my rounds. I'm trying to make it known that I'm selling flowers. And I'm upstairs, and then I'm trying to go downstairs, okay? This is where it happens. So as I'm walking down the stairs with my basket, I have to also steady myself because I'm wearing heels. Got my wig on. It's dark. Okay? And I'm looking more at my feet than anywhere else because I don't want to fall down. I'm sober. People around me are drunk. Okay? So I have to look out for them as I'm walking around. And then as I'm walking down the stairs, I'm taking each step, step by step by step. And by the time I get down to the bottom of the stairs, then I look up. And that is when Shaquille O'Neal startled me because I get to the bottom of the stairs and I look up and I'm like, what is blocking me? And I look up some more and I'm like, what is happening? And I look up some more and I'm like, oh, that's Shaquille O'Neal standing up. So I was like, oh, really shocked. And that's how Shaquille O'Neal startled me, snuck up on me. Okay. Because I was working as a flower girl and I was trying to walk down the stairs looking as careful as I could to take every step down the stairs. And I get to the bottom and he's down at the bottom of the stairs. And I'm like, wait, who, like, what's happening? Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, that's hilarious. But yeah, and that's how he snuck up on me. Okay. So I've seen other celebrities around town in various states of whatever. I don't get starstruck. Back in those days, they were just all over the place. No, you know, like what's his name? Dominique Wilkins. He was always all over the place. Like he was almost like annoying. It was almost like he wanted people to say, "Aren't you Dominique Wilkins?" or something. It's like he was everywhere. But yeah, back in the day. I don't know what's going on. It's in Atlanta. They hitting the highway. Y'all be safe out there. I'm gonna just tell you, be safe out there. Okay. Yeah. And I've seen, let's see, who else have I seen in person? Celebrity. I don't know. I mean, like I said, they're just people. You know? Have I seen Usher? Usher, one of the jobs I had, Usher came into our store. That's when he was still with Chili. Okay, when he was dating Chili. Oh yeah, the Brat. Oh yeah, she was really nice. I didn't get to talk to her. That was another job I had. I didn't get a chance to talk to her, but she was really nice. Yeah, that's what I remember of her. But yeah, celebrities. I've seen them. They're out there. Oh yeah, the other job. Now I will give you this. Okay, I've seen celebrities who try to hide. And speaking of the wigs, what's her name? Valerie Petford. She was on Sister. No, was it Sister to Sister? That had Rachel True in it, and she was also a soap opera star. Valerie Petford. That is. She snuck. She does not look anything like she did in the TV show, y'all. Somebody spotted her at my job, at one of my other jobs. I can tell you another story about that, but they spotted her. And we looked at her, and she was, again, super nice, super kind. But you could tell that was a fan, because I would not, like, in a million years, would have thought that was her. But they were like, it's her. And they were like, wait, who? It's like, I know her. Those were some interesting times. All right, so yeah, I'm gonna go. I got things to do, and I gotta drive safe. It's raining out here. I did not expect it to rain today at all. I've got a lot of things to get caught up on, but you know, that's how life is. You know, being a person, a middle-class musician or whatever, being a person out here in these streets, trying to make a living from your music, you know, do what you gotta do. All right, I'm gonna move over, and as soon as I get to a red light, I'm gonna end this live so I can get to my house and stuff. But yeah, let me know if if there's anything in particular you want to know about as far as like, I don't know. I don't hang out with celebrities. I don't try to look for them. I think the ones that want people to notice them, I think they're the ones with this low self-esteem or the ego, which is one and the same, by the way. Um, and then you got your friends like my girl Valerie in incognito, and people are still like trying to like get her autograph and pictures and stuff, and she's like, I'm like, I am looking busted. Like she literally was. I'm not saying that she wasn't looking bad. She just did not look like who is on the TV. I'll just say that. Okay, she wasn't looking bad. But sometimes I get spotted out. Like I remember years, where I would get spotted out in the most likely of places, and they're like, "Are you Nerd Queen?" And I'm like, "Yeah." So I understand, So I don't bother them when I see them. I'm just like, whatever, unless they want me to know them, kind of thing. All right. With that, I'm gonna say, take care. Bye. Bye.